Thank you for your interest in this webinar. And this webinar is about a hands-on introduction to the second version of NanoMe Studio and its built-in knowledge translation tool for network meta-analysis. So you can treat the NanoMe Studio and knowledge translation tool as the same application. The translation tool is just a new module embedded into NanoMe Studio. They are connected with each other. So I show you later how they can be connected. So I assume that most of you are familiar with pairwise meta-analysis and network meta-analysis, but just in case someone needs a quick refresher, I'll just go over them very briefly. But this pairwise meta-analysis is a method used in the research to combine the results from multiple studies that compare directly the two same interventions. For example, here, if we have several randomized control trials that compare the intervention P and the intervention R, a pairwise meta-analysis would combine all of the effects from these RCTs to determine the pooled effect or the overall effect. So it usually increases the statistical power and precision compared to the single studies, but it's very important to note that pairwise meta-analysis is only appropriate for the studies that combine directly two same interventions. If we have several interventions at the same time, then we may need the network meta-analysis. So network meta-analysis is an extension of pairwise meta-analysis that allows you to compare multiple treatment options at the same time, even though some of them haven't been compared directly in any individual studies. And in the network meta-analysis, we usually have two types of evidence. The first evidence is called the direct evidence. So in this scenario, let's see if we have the studies that compare each pair of the interventions, then we can get the direct evidence from all of these studies. But in the second scenario, if we don't have any studies that compare directly the intervention R and the intervention O, then we can only indirect compare them via their common comparator P. So in this case, we can only get the indirect evidence for the comparison between intervention R and intervention O. So network meta-analysis can combine this indirect and direct treatment effect into the mixed or combined effect. It also can estimate all the relative effects between each pair of the interventions in your network. So it increases the precision of estimates, enables the inference of treatment contrasts that may not be evident in any individual study. It also provides ranking information of all the treatment options, which helps decision making. Despite all of these advantages, we may also face several challenges when conducting the network meta-analysis. The first group of challenges are relevant to the performing network meta-analysis because compared to the pairwise meta-analysis, the methodology for NanoMes are more complicated, which requires statistical and coding expertise. And it's very hard to effectively share the results, generate all the plots and tables for visualizing the results from network meta-analysis. And the second group of challenges are relevant to presenting and communicating the network meta-analysis results. Similarly, compared to the pairwise meta-analysis, NanoMe usually provides a significantly larger volume of information. Imagine that a network with 10 interventions, it gives 45 comparisons. And some traditional presentation tools, such as the standard summary finding tables, cannot accommodate all of this information in a comprehensible way. And we know that most major medical journals, they impose the restrictions in word count, number of figures, tables. That's why many published NanoMes only provided a restricted number of outputs, which lacks of transparency and reproducibility. A well-reported NanoMes usually contains hundreds of pages of supplementary materials, so it can be very hard for the readers or reviewers to focus on the key information or results in front of this overwhelming information. So NanoMe Studio is designed to tackle the challenges of performing network analysis. With NanoMe Studio, you just need to click and point, upload your own dataset, then all the results including tables and figures, will be generated automatically. And the knowledge translation tool is developed to address the challenges of presenting and communicating network meta-analysis results. So basically, this tool, it contains all the key information and results in one page. With assistance of the interactive features, it enhances the communication of results. It can present the results in a comprehensible and transparent way. So in this webinar, because to use the knowledge translation tool, you need to first upload your data into Nanome Studio. So in this webinar, I will first walk you through all the steps and figures in Nanome Studio, and then I will show you what we have so far for the knowledge translation tool. Okay, and for the Nanome Studio, some of you may have already used Nanome Studio before, and we have launched the second version for a year, and based on the feedback from the users, because for the previous version, we used outside server. So sometimes the user may have the access issues. Sometimes they have the timeout issue. They may get stuck when they use Nanome Studio. So recently, we made several important updates in Nanome Studio, and we also migrate Nanome Studio into a new server with this new address, because the new server is much more stable and robust. So I think you won't encountered any timeout issues or the access issues. And also, all the future updates will only be deployed into this new address. We will stop using the old one at the end of the year. So you can visit Nanome Studio with this address, or you can just go to Google to search Nanome Studio. You may find two. The first one is our old address, and this new one with the UIO cloud is the new address. We put the latest version in this new address. So you can click it and open Nanome Studio. Then we are at the home page. In this home page, in the left bar, you will see we included 3 pages: the home page, the setup analysis page, and the results page. And finally, the knowledge translation tool page. But unfortunately, the knowledge translation tool is not open access yet, but we will release it very soon in a few months. But today I will also I will still show you show you this tool with the local version. So let's first look at the home page. In the home page, we give you a brief instruction about the steps you need to follow in Nanome Studio, and also what results you can get from Nanome Studio. Before you uploading your data, you can download our demonstration data to explore Nanome Studio and also see the explanation of all the variables in this demonstration data. And you could also click this to watch the tutorial video. We put a brief tutorial video in the YouTube. And if you have any questions when you use Nanome Studio, feel free to contact me. Use this email address. And once you're ready, you could click the Start button, which will take you to the setup analysis page. And in this page, you need to complete 9 steps to upload your own dataset. And the next step will be triggered after you finish the current step. For example, the first step is for you to provide a link of the protocol. If you don't have any link for this protocol, just click skip. And then the next step is triggered. But today I won't go through all of these steps because it takes time. But if you feel confused about any steps, just simply click the check explanation for each step. So here in this file, we provide the explanations for each step in detail. You just need to find the corresponding step in this first slide, and you click it. As you can see, we provide very detailed explanations for what variables you need to select for each box from your dataset. Okay. So I have already after you complete all of these steps, there will be a like a round analysis button. And after you click the round analysis button, you need to wait until all the analysis have been completed, and then there will be a submit button. You just need to click the submit button. It will take you to the results page. So here is the results page. All of these results will be passed to this results page. Okay, so in the results page, the first thing is a protocol link. If you provide the protocol link, it will be here. Otherwise, it will show you a warning message says that you don't provide any protocol link. And then we include a drop-down list for you to select which groups of results you want to display in this page. So the first one is data and transitivity. So if I scroll down, you will see on the left side, we include a network diagram. On the right side, it includes the data. It includes both converted data and the data you provided. So here we have the information icon. You can click it to see the overall information for your project. And we also offers you a lot of options to customize this network diagram. So for example, if you want to change the load size to make them be proportional to the number of studies for each intervention, just click it. And you could also change the load color. Let's say if we want the node color to provide the information for the risk bias, we click the risk bias, and then it show you the risk bias information. I mean, there are a lot of options. You could change the graph layout shape, and you can explore it yourself afterwards. And on the right side, because in the data uploading process, you are required to provide the publication year for each studies. So you can use this year publication bar to see the evolution of your data or your evidence. And also, this network diagram can be seen as a filter of all the tables in Nanime Studio. For example, I can select one of the age, which represents a specific comparison. So if I select the comparison between placebo and ADA, then the table will only contain the studies that gives you the comparison for these two interventions. Okay, and then if we scroll down, we will see there is the transitivity. Sorry, why is this? I may have some connection issues, but let's just use this version. Okay. I'm not sure why this happened. Okay, so if we scroll down, we will see the transitivity checks tab. And here you need to select one of the effect modifiers to generate the box plots. So here you can select one of the effect modifier. If I select age, then it will generate the box plots for the age, which is for you to explore the distribution of the effective modifier across all the comparisons. And you can also highlight some corresponding comparisons by clicking the corresponding ages in this network diagram. For example, if I click some of them, so the corresponding comparison are highlighted in the table. And we also provide the scatter plot for the transitivity check. This is because for some comparison, it may only contains like one or two studies, so the box plot may not be very appropriate. So you just need to switch to the scatter plot. And if you find it's a little bit crowded, just need to expand the window. And here you will see the scatter plot. The size of the scatters are proportional to the number of studies for that specific comparison. And by the way, you could for all the plots, you can always change the title or the x-axis name and y-axis name, and you could also download all the plots in Anime Studio. And you may also find we include a lot of like question marks everywhere. These are for you to click and open the pop-up window where you will find the explanations for how you can interact with the plots and tables. Okay, so this is the first results, and the second one is the forest plots. So for the forest plots, we first give the forest plots for the network estimates. It includes two types of forest plots. The first one is for just one outcome. And to get the forest plots for the network estimate, you need to click one of the nodes in this network diagram to be the reference treatment. If I click the placebo, you will see we have the forest plots showing you the information for the comparisons between the reference treatment and other treatments. And this plot is quite flexible. You can make it move the position of it, and you can make it wider or narrower if you want. And you could also add the prediction interval into the forest plot, or it's the tau square information for each comparison in this forest plot. So if I switch to it's the tau square, so here in the third column, it includes the tau square for each comparison. And for the network estimate, we also have the two-dimensional plots with the x-axis represents the first outcome and the y-axis represents the second outcome. So for these forest plots, you can remove some of the treatments if you want, just by clicking the corresponding scatters in this legend. And you can also click them to get them back. So these are the forest plots for the network estimates. Okay, so here we also provide the forest plot for the direct estimates, which is also called the pairwise meta-analysis forest plots. So to get this forest plot, you need to select specific comparisons. So if I select the comparison between placebo and ETA, I can get this forest plots. And so these are the results for the forest plots. And then we could go to the league tables. For the league table, we first provide a league table for one outcome, with the lower triangle contains the values for the mix effects for all the comparisons, and the upper triangle includes all the direct estimates for all the comparisons. And this is for the outcome PSI 19. You can change it to other outcome if you want. And in the second table, we provide the league table for two outcomes at the same time. So in this table, the lower triangle contains the mixed effect for the first outcome, and the upper triangle includes the effect for the second outcome. And the color in this table provides you the information for the risk of bias. And in Anime Studio, we also allows you to use the cinema ratings, but to use it, you need to get the report of cinema ratings from the cinema application and then upload it into Anime Studio, because here I use the embedded example. We have already put the cinema into it, so I just need to click the switch button, and then the colors in the table will give you the information for cinema rating, and you can hover your mouse on it to see the reason for downgrading. And this is similar for the two outcomes. You can click to switch it to the cinema ratings. And also for the league table, as I said, the network diagram can be seen as a filter. So if you just want to list several interventions in this league table, you select like several loads on this network diagram. So in the table, it will only show you the corresponding comparisons, and this is similar for the league table for 2 outcomes. And next, we have the ranking. This is the ranking plots for 2 outcomes, and if in the data uploading process, you upload like 3 or 4 outcomes, here will display you the 3 or 4 outcomes simultaneously. And for the ranking information, we also provide the 2-dimensional scatter plot. And x-axis represents the first outcome, and y-axis represents the second outcome. So last, we have the consistency and reporting bias information. For the consistency check, we first provide the global test results, and then we provide the local test for each comparisons. And similarly, you could use the network diagram to filter the table. Okay. And finally, we have the funnel plots for you to explore the reporting bias. And we include 2 types of funnel plots. The first one is the comparison adjusted plot. To generate this plot, you need to select a load in the network diagram. If I select placebo, this plot will show you the information for all the comparisons between the selected treatment and other treatments. And you could also remove some comparisons by clicking the corresponding scatters in the legend and click it again to get them back. And for the standard plots, because the standard funnel plots can only show 1 comparison at a time, so you need to click one of the comparison. If I click placebo versus ETA, then it gives you the funnel plot for this comparison. Okay, so these are basically all the results you can get and all the interactive features in Nanome Studio. But after you run analysis, and if you want to get share these results with other people, and if you want to other people to explore your results with Nanome Studio, in this version, we provide another function. So this is the Save and Node project. You could click and open it. In the Save Project tab, you need to enter your username and then click the Create Token, because here I use the embedded data I want to it. But after you upload your own data set and get all of these results, you click the Create Token, there will be a unique token under this button. And after you click it, that means all of your results and your original data are saved into our server. So you can put this token into your manuscript, or you can share this token with other people. And with this token, other people can go to Nanome Studio and go directly to this node project tab to enter the unique token that you gave to them. Click Node Existing Project, and then all the results will be passed into this results page. That's how the other users can use the features in Nanome Studio to explore your project. But some people, they may not very well into like save all the results or save their original data set in our server, because they may worry about the ownership of the data, or they are worried about the confidential issues. So if you're concerned about that, then you don't need to use this function. Because in the upcoming version, we will include another function which allows you to download a zip file, which will also contain all the results and your original data set. You can keep this zip file in your own computer, and you can decide to share or not to share this zip file. With this zip file, and other users can also go to Nanome Studio and upload it, and then to use Nanome Studio to explore your results. So these are all the features that we have for Nanami Studio. And I think there's something with the server because we just migrate it into a new server. We may also have some problems, but I think the problems will be solved in a week. So yeah, because it's still in the test period. Okay, so these are all the things about Nanami Studio, and then I will continue with the knowledge translation tool. So similarly for the knowledge translation tool, after you upload all the data and run analysis, you click the submit button, all the results will be passed automatically to this translation tool. So this is the translation tool page. As you may have noticed below it, we have like two versions, the standard version and the advanced version. This is because when we developed this tool based on all the feedback from other stakeholders, we think like different group of people, they may have different needs for the translation tool. So the standard version is designed for the people who do not have too much experience in conducting a network meta-analysis. And it can also be seen as a communication tool between the expert of network meta-analysis and the people who don't have much experience in network meta-analysis. And the advanced version is developed for the people like who know all the concepts in network meta-analysis, who know all the assumptions, and who know the differences between the direct and indirect estimates. And the advanced version can also be seen as a very comprehensible online supplementary material. And all of this tool can also be used for teaching. So how you use this tool is really depends on you. Okay, first I'll show you the standard version. For the standard version, we first included several information boxes, which provide some relevant information about your project. And then if you scroll down, we include a summary of finding tables that includes all the important results for each comparison and for each outcome. So in these information boxes, the first one is the project title. You can hover your mouse on the question mark to see some brief instruction. So it says editable, put your project title here. So that means this box is editable, so you can change your project title or edit it. And then we have a PICOS information, and this box is also editable for you to add more details if you want. And then we include the overall information for your project. And similarly here, we provide the potential effect modifier information. You can click the distribution of modifier button to open the pop-up where you can select one of the effect modifier to generate the box plots. And in the released version, we will also include the scatter plots that you see in the Nanami Studio. And then we have the intervention diagram. If you hover your mouse on the question mark, it says select loads or edges to display the results for specific interventions or comparisons in the table below. That means this intervention diagram is connected with the table below, so I show you how you can interact with them later. And on the right side, we also include like chatbots. We connected the Lowly translation tool with the large language model. So you can ask any questions, especially the practical questions for the specific interventions. So if I ask what is the side effects of the USK, and then I get the answer from the large language model. And then if you move down, then we have this summary finding tables. In this table, the first column is treatment column, and second one is comparator. And then in the remaining columns, we include the risk ratio because this project use the risk ratio at effect measure for each outcome. So, so that means each row in this table represents a specific comparison. And between this column, we include a switch button. This is because, for example, here, the risk ratio is for the treatment ADA versus the comparator ETA, but sometimes you may want to switch the treatment and comparator. So you just need to click it, and then you will see the risk ratio will be the treatment ETA versus the ADA. And also, as I said, the intervention diagram is connected with the table. So you could select, for example, you can select several comparisons in this network diagram. Then in the table, it will only show you the selected comparisons information. And this is similar for you to select the node. So if I select this 4 nodes, then in the table below, it will only show you the comparisons among these 4 interventions. Okay, so and in this table, for example, here the treatment is placebo and comparator is ETA. I want to switch it because I always want to know what is the effect for the treatment ETA versus the placebo. And in this risk ratio, the effect column, you could click it to open the pop-up, will show you more information. So first, it gives you the information about the absolute difference for this comparison. And by default, the risk for the comparator is set to be 20 per 1,000, but you can change it to like 40 if you want. After it changes to the 40, the absolute difference has been changing, and also the confidence interval for the absolute difference for that specific comparison is changed. And below it, we include another table which provides you the study level information for this comparison. So for this study information table, the first column is the study name, and you can click it to open the original publication for that specific study. And we also include the risk ratio for each study and the sample size and some potential effect modifier information for each study. And we also included the risk bias information for each study. And this is similar for the another outcome. You can click it to open it to see the study information and also to see the absolute difference for this specific comparison. And also, if you switch it back, you click this pop-up. I mean, the risk ratio for the study level will also change it. And for the information of the results, we also include the certainty of evidence for each comparison. Well, this is based on the cinema framework, so you can hover your mouse on it to see the detailed information in each domain. Okay, so these are basically all the results and functions in the standard version. Now I will switch to the advanced version. Okay, so for the advanced version, because we included more information and more results, so we can only show one outcome at a time. And the first step is to select the outcome you want to display. So first I select the first outcome, PSI 90. And in this advanced version, we also include 2 main parts. The first part includes several information boxes, and then we include a much more complicated table to contains more informations. So in these information boxes, we also have the project title, peak cost information, and in this intervention diagram, you can select to allowed to get the description about this specific interventions. And in the release version, we will also allow you to click the one of the age to show some information about that, including the number of studies for each comparison. And then we could we include the overall information, the potential effect modifier information, and in the last box, we provide several options. But these options are for the forest plots. In the table, I show you how we can use them to display different information in the table below. So in this table, in the main table, the first column is a reference treatment. So it includes all the treatment names in your network. And then we provide the p-score for ranking. And we also give you the range of the risk in the dataset for each reference treatment. And the remaining 4 columns are empty because these are for you to enter different information, different values to display different information in the listed table. So you could go to the reference treatment column to click it and open the listed table. So this includes the comparison information between the reference treatment and other treatments. And you can close it to open another one. So in this way, this table can include all the information, all the comparisons when each treatment is seen as the reference treatment. So let's take this ADA as an example. So in this nested table, the first column is the treatment name, which includes all the treatment names except the reference treatment. And then we give you the mixed effect with confidence interval for all the comparisons. And in the third column, we have the absolute difference, but this one is empty because you need to first specify the value for the reference treatment in this risk per 1,000. So here, if I enter 20, and it's updating, we just need to wait a few seconds, and then we get the absolute difference for each comparison. When the reference treatment, the risk for the reference treatment is said to be 20. And then in the forest plots, by default, you can make it wider if you want. And for the forest plot, by default, it includes information for the mixed effect with confidence interval and prediction interval, the direct estimate, and the indirect estimate. You can hover your mouse on the points and lines to see the labels. And the shades in this forest plot is the range of equivalence, which is the minimal clinical difference value. So as I said, we provide a lot of options for you to display different information in this forest plot. For example, if you only want to keep the mix effect with the confidence interval, then you just need to untick all of the boxes. And then the table is updating. We need to wait a few seconds. Okay. Now we get the forest plots that only contains the information for the mix effect with confidence interval, and you can also change the width of the shade by entering different minimal clinical value in this input box. And sometimes, for example, for this comparison, the placebo versus ADA, as you see, you cannot see the full lines and the points. This is because it exceeds the scale of the forest plot. So you can change the lower value or the upper value for the scale of this forest plots. So here, because the lower value for the confidence interval is 0.05, we just need to enter the value which is smaller than it, say 0.03. And then the table is updating. Now we can have the full point and lines for the forest plots. And then the next column is the direct effects for each comparison. And for this direct effect, you could click the cell with the value to open a pop-up where you will find the forest plots for this specific comparison. And also we provide the indirect effect for each comparison and the p-value for consistency check. So the value in the first row is the global test results, and in other rows, they are the p-value for each comparison. And we also include the certainty of evidence information. Again, it's based on the cinema framework. So you can hover your mouse on it to see the detailed information for each domain. And in the last column, this is the comments column. The whole column is editable for you to add comments or explanation for each comparison. And this table is quite flexible. You can do a lot of things. For example, you can pin some columns. So if I pin the treatment columns, if you move to the right, it will still be here. And you could also remove some columns if you don't want. Let's say if you want to remove the absolute difference, you could just remove the column outside of the table. And you go here to tick the corresponding boxes to get them back. And also you can remove some rows if you don't want them. So I could remove some of them and tick them to get them back. Okay, so these are basically all the features for the advanced version for the knowledge translation tool. And I also want to mention some future key updates for the knowledge translation tool. So for the first release version, we will also add more information box and hover over tips with additional text to clarify some definitions, concepts, etc. And we will also include more customization options, like you said in Anime Studio, to give you more options to customize the network diagram. And in this version, we only display the abbreviations, but in the released version, we will also put the full names of the abbreviations in the knowledge translation tool. We will also include a search bar for the frequently asked questions to answer some common questions from the users. We will also add a demo video for better user navigation and understanding. And besides the updates for the first release version, so in the future version, we plan to connect this tool with Cinema because as I presented, if you want to use the Cinema rating, you need to first go to the Cinema application and download the report and upload the report into Anime Studio. So in the future, we will streamline this process by establish the connection between these two applications. And then we will include a page where people will be able to upload their own analysis results, because in this version, if you want to use the knowledge translation tool, you need to run analysis in Anime Studio. But in the future version, you could run analysis outside of the Anime Studio. Just upload the results file into the knowledge translation tool for the communication or the presentation purpose. And third, because we have already collected the knowledge translation tool with a large language model, we may make it possible to automatically generate some interpretations of the results of your project. And finally, some warnings will show up if there are some violations of the assumptions. Okay, so these basically are all the contents for my today's presentation. And I think now is the question and answer time. But happy to answer your questions, and we are happy if you have any suggestions about Anime Studio and the knowledge translation tool. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Tianqi, for this very clear and super interesting presentation. Yes, it is true we have some questions in the chat. Some of them have already been said by discussions, by written discussions, but I would like to start by asking you for a quick response regarding the link to the protocol and whether this is a mandatory step to Anime Studio, or users can still use it without having a mandatory a protocol link.
It's not mandatory, it's optional, but in the results page, if you provide the protocol link, it will show you the protocol link, but otherwise it will show you the warning message implies that you don't provide any protocol link of your project. this is for improve the transparency of your project.
Okay, thank you very much for clarifying this. Then we have also a question regarding the transitivity checks and whether you could quickly demonstrate them again. I'm not sure if we have all the time about that. And then another question regarding this is what is on the x-axis of the direct comparison? Is it of the x-axis of the transitivity checks? Is it direct comparisons? Don't have the results here.
It's not relevant to. Yes, I think it's a direct comparison because you should provide the effect modifier with your data, so it
Yes,
should be the direct comparison.
and I guess these are the direct comparisons for which evidence has been observed for this effect
Yes.
modifier at the study level. So if
Yeah.
for the comparison, for example, we don't have the age, then we don't see it in the
Yeah.
in this box. Okay, yes, thank you. And another related thing with the transitivity checks is whether we have any option for categorical coverage.
Okay, so for the categorical variables, you need to make it. Let's say if you have binary outcomes, then like the male, you need to make it as a percentage value. And for like the categorical, which has like 3 or 5 categories, you need to make it like 1, 2, 3, 4. Otherwise, we don't have any options for.
Okay, thank you for clarifying this as well. Then we have another question regarding, and maybe also a concern regarding the amount of time that users need to spend in the data entry, and whether all these steps required in this data entry can be found somewhere else on any other archive, since it didn't present here, if users can find them somewhere else.
You mean the uploading process?
Yes, the data entry, if I understand very well the question.
Yes, here I showed them. You just click the explanations, and we provide very detailed explanations for each step. So you just need to find the step you may feel confused. As you can see here, we explained everything what you should select for each box.
Okay.
And for another concern is that to prepare your data sets, maybe he asked how to prepare the data set. So in Enemy Studio, we allows 3 formats of the data. And if you don't understand what this format of your data, you just go here to see the examples that we make. Yeah.
Okay. Then we also have clarification request regarding whether the calculations behind the network meta-analysis rely on the net meta package or they are frequentist.
Yes, we have that. I mean, I can show you very quickly. So if you, after you click the Run Analysis button, there is a pop-up where you can download a file. In this file, we include all the R codes for all the analysis. So you can always find what models we used and what parameters we set for all the analysis.
Okay, great. Thank you. Another question relates with the capacity of the tool. Approximately how many simultaneous users can NMS Studio support?
We are now working on these problems usually because now we have already migrated to a new server, but it seems it has some new problems, but we will fix it very soon. So in the future, it should don't have like the limitations for the capacity with the new server. Because for the previous one, we know it has some limits for the capacity, but for the new one, after the test period, it shouldn't have any limitations for the capacity.
Okay, great. Another question in the chat relates with the if there is any limitation to the network size first. So if they have, I guess, a very big network, is it expected to crash?
It depends on how big. I mean, because the embedded data set is already very big, because it includes like 20 treatments and hundreds studies. So
Yeah.
I think usually we don't have any problems with that for with the new server. I mean, as with the previous one, we had that kind of problems. If you have a big data set, then you may get stuck, especially when many people visit the Learning Studio at the same time.
Okay, and then another question. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But for the very large data sets, we have a plan for that, because now you can go to the GitHub to download the whole application and run it with your own computer. So if you can do that, you won't have any problems with the size of your data set. And in the future, we will have we will develop like real local version. So to have this with this local version, you don't need to worry about the size of your data set.
Okay. And I guess the larger the network, it might take just a few more minutes to run the calculations, right? Because it relies on mathematics.
Yes, but I mean, if your data set is too large, like if you have 1 GB data sets, then it may have some problems with this online version. So the safe option is just download the local version and run it with your own laptop.
Okay. Another question now relates with the certainty of evidence assessment, and if it's possible to upload the assessment on other than cinema tools. So for instance, grade.
Currently, it allows for the risk bias in the cinema.
Okay, so it's currently.
We're allowed to upload other.
Okay, thank you. Now, another question is regarding the reported effect modifiers that you showed, mean male proportions, and whether these were calculated by the NMA studio. Sorry, I don't really understand, but or you just pick and whether these calculations just pick the median or you directly take the reported means of the male proportions. So how do you calculate it from the data, or you do other calculations?
You mean the male percentage, for example, how I calculate the male percentage? We don't calculate. You need to provide that information in your data set.
So they need to be reported at the study level. Yeah. And then across the studies, you take the mean or the median?
The median.
The median, okay. Well, it's a box which, right? Okay, I don't see any other questions in the chat. Maybe I can ask also 1 or 2 questions myself. The first one is, during your presentation, we saw several of results, several of tables, graphs. Are all of these downloadable so we can export them in our devices? Because
in all the results and plots and tables in the Animal Studio can be downloaded. But for the knowledge translation tool, we are working on it because we haven't found most proper way to download like the full table. So, yeah.
And another question I have is regarding the information you decided to include in the knowledge translation tool and all these elements. How did you decide all this? How did you arrive in the decision which of them you are going to add?
We didn't add all of them randomly because to develop this tool, we first established a expert committee, which includes 12 experts from different countries in the field of evidence synthesis, And we like hold 2 rounds of online discussion with them, and we also arranged a scheduled in-person meeting with them. We show them first a very draft version of this tool, and based on their comments, we did some modification. And after that, each of them recommend like 2 to 3 stakeholders, which includes the clinicians, the policymakers, the guideline developers. So we had the interviews and the online discussions one-on-one with them to understand their needs and to show them the drafted version of this tool. And then we did some updates and modifications for this tool. This is how we decide which information should be included into knowledge translation tool. Yeah.